Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Mercury in conjunct Uranus in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They're a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them, in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, if you have Mercury in conjunct Uranus in a natal chart, well, there may be an adjustment, which is the inconjunct. It may be needed as far as your communications and your goals and aspirations, which is communications is Mercury, goals and aspirations Uranus. Now, it could be where one or the other may be overemphasized. When you have inconjuncts in a natal chart, there can be a lot of, vacillation and distortion of energy. You may accentuate one thing very strongly or accentuate the other, thing strongly, back and forth. And, one could be to the expense of the other. In this case, it could be just too much talking and not enough, pursuing the goals and aspirations, or you may talk too much about them, your goals and aspirations, and then other times you may not at all. So, it's really it could be a back and forth thing. Now, if you have Uranus, in Aquarius as an example, goals and aspirations, may be tied in with computers, electronics, astrology, astronomy, the internet, social media, meteorology, aviation, as some examples. If Uranus is in Sagittarius, those goals and aspirations, may be connected with philosophy, religion, publishing, advertising, printing press operation, college teaching, doing something with sports, the outdoors, as some examples. Now, another thing about Mercury in conjunct Uranus in a natal chart and how it may manifest is that there may be such where you vacillate between many short journeys, which is Mercury, to, whether it's computer, electronic, astrology, Uranus-related venues, and then there may be periods where you just don't do this whatsoever. So, the key, when you're talking about inconjuncts in astrology, the key is to find the balance and equilibrium in the energy, between whether it's the planets or major astrological energy or what have you. So, if you have say if Mercury is in Pisces as an example, those short journeys, maybe maybe a little bit chaotic or convoluted. Mercury in Scorpio may take, the mysterious, secretive, short journeys. Mercury in Taurus, of course, is going to be more methodical, deliberate plotting in terms of the short journeys. So, as some examples. Now, another thing is that there could also be, periods where you have a plethora of ingenious or innovative ideas, which is Uranus, and other times you just may be completely stagnant in that department, and you may not even be thinking about, any kind of, unique or new thoughts or what have you. Now, if Uranus is in Libra as an example, there may be, ingenuity expressed, whether it could be the art or law. It could be doing something, even with scales in some cases. Hey, Libra is connected with scales, balance. It could be an idea even for a game that's associated with balance, like Jenga or Don't Tip the Waiter. And the thing about this is, again, it's just about, a lot of, the vacillation of energy. And you may have, a lot of ideas, at one time, where you're just kind of bombarded with them, in your mind. And then other times you're just not even, could really or it could just be that you're apathetic in that department in other instances. So, now another thing too, again, inconjuncts in astrology can be about, imbalances. And There may be an imbalance between activities, associated with siblings, cousins, and neighbors, which is Mercury, and friends, which is Uranus. You could be, dominated by one or the other. You may wind up, spending a lot of time with siblings, cousins, and neighbors, to the point where it could be to the expense of your friendships, and even people that are prominent in groups, clubs, and organizations, which is Uranus. Or it could be the other way around. Sometimes you may just simply be so involved and immersed in matters pertaining to your friends, to groups, clubs, and organizations that you don't, it might seem like you're oblivious, to siblings, cousins, and your neighbors. Now, if you have say if Uranus is in Scorpio as an example, friends, one or more may actually be a Scorpio sun, moon, or ascendant person, or embody those characteristics. It could be people that are secretive, mysterious, probing, and incisive, deep. Could be those that are very resourceful, resilient, empowering, and transforming. As some examples, if Uranus is in Capricorn, as another example, one or more friends may actually be a Capricorn sun, moon, or ascendant person, or embody the traits of the sign. It could be those that are, older, mature, serious, structured, disciplined, consistent, responsible, and ambitious, as another example. Now, another thing too is that there may be times where you either have an exorbitant amount of inspiration, which is Uranus, for communications, for writings, matters with manual dexterity, which is Mercury, or there may be other times when you just simply lack the motivation, the desire, the incentive to do these things altogether. Now, if you have, Mercury in Aquarius, there may be, doing something with manual dexterity that may be tied in with computers or electronics. Mercury in Gemini can be really, more, emphasizing, like cars, vehicles, in terms of manual dexterity. Mercury in Pisces may be, enamored with writings connected with poetry, or dancing, or photography, or the metaphysical, which includes astrology. Now, also too, you may put more much emphasis in terms of analyzing, which is Mercury, Uranus related matters and topics. And other times it could be to a point where you're apathetic regarding them. So it could be where you're very infatuated, with analyzing things that are Uranus related, and other times you just may not have any interest in doing so at all. Now, the thing is, if you have, Mercury in Virgo, that could be even really emphasizing a lot of analysis. Mercury in Virgo can be very, analytical and punctilious with details, and loves to dissect matters. And another thing about Mercury Inconjunct Uranus in a natal chart and how it may manifest is that there could either be, a lot of too much freedom, maybe, or you may emphasize too much freedom and independence, which is Uranus, when driving. Mercury when taking short trips, which is Mercury. Or there may be other times, when you have none whatsoever. There could be a lot of fluctuation with this energy. It could just simply be that a lot of times you may take, you may drive or take your short trips where there's just such an innate need to be by yourself, or you're trying to emphasize that I'm going to do this, and it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing or what other problems are going on. Then other times you might feel like your freedom to do so may be completely inhibited. So it can go either way. It can be one or the other, and it's a lot of, again, that back and forth energy when you're talking about inconjuncts in a natal chart. If Mercury is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, there may be a lot of short trips to places that are historical or nostalgic or family related. A lot of those are some ways that, as some examples, how it could pan out. Now, another thing too is that there might be a lot of fluctuation between having the tremendous communication, which is Mercury, with friends, which is Uranus, and other times you may go for protracted periods and just not talk to them hardly at all. So if Uranus, say, is in Pisces, as an example, one or more friends may actually have a Pisces sun, moon, or ascendant or embody those characteristics. It could be, people that are very, compassionate, altruistic, forgiving, sacrificing, adaptable. Those could be very emotional, sensitive, maybe very intuitive as well. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.